Welcome to the show, everyone. What do we have here? We have two coaches from Anytime Fitness here. We have Connor here and we have Jesse. Welcome to the show, everyone. They're both coaches and trainers from Anytime Fitness, the gym that I go to. Connor is the one here that crushes me every single time I go to the gym, which is good. I kind of need that crushing. Keeps me on track, pushes me, motivates me, and all that stuff to keep physically fit and all that stuff. So we're going to start the show off right and talk about fitness, health, and all that stuff. That's why I got two coaches here to help me out with this. So Connor, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Thank you for coming here. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. So let's start it off nice and easy and light before we get into our main topic. If you guys ever watch the show, some of the questions I have are nice and easy and lighthearted. First one would be, if you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be?
I thought about this a little bit.
Okay.
And I was going to say super strength, but I already have that. So
You already have super strength.
No, it was tough. I was between a few, but I think flying has got to be.
Fly?
It's got to be the best one. I mean, the convenience. It's just
like myself, I picked Superman. Basically, he has all the powers there. You know, he can fly. He has super strength. You know, in outer space and all that stuff. X-ray vision. You know, all that stuff. Quite a few people have said some interesting things. Like Mike wanted to be invisible just to watch people and all that stuff. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, you could say the same thing.
Well, that was the thing. I was going to say the same thing, but you don't understand. Like Connor and I, we're kind of like twins. We always pick the same thing. But anyway, yes, mine would be to fly.
So you're twinning pretty much.
Always. It's crazy.
So a question we had on the podcast before. Now, what if you could only fly as fast as you could run? Unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. I thought about that too. But again, you'd still get places.
You still get places
fast. No traffic. You go straight to the destination. So
absolutely.
I think I'd still want that, although that would be crappy if you could go as fast as you could run.
Oh man. But yeah.
You'd hear someone screaming, you'd be like, all right, I'll be there in 8 minutes. And just slowly go. I don't think that would work very well.
That's so funny. But like you said, yeah. Easy, convenient, all that stuff. You could just get up and fly without traffic.
Escape
and all that
danger.
Stuff.
Something's about to happen. You just got to get up in the air. You don't got to move fast. You just got to get out of the way.
It's true. Absolutely. That's interesting. Next question would be, if you could travel anywhere in the world, all expenses paid, where would you guys go?
For me, it would probably be Greece.
Greece,
yep. And the reason for that is my whole mom's side of the family is Greek.
Okay.
So I've always wanted to get out there and kind of explore and just, see kind of the culture and the history.
It's like the old country. Like I would like to go to like Italy and Rome and see like the old statues and old buildings that are still, still up and now. It's crazy. Like the technology and all that stuff back then, things are still standing.
Yep, it's nuts.
Yeah, interesting. Jesse, where would you like to go anywhere in the world?
Mine's going to sound really lame, but I really want to go like out west. Like I want to see the Grand Canyon, like Arizona, like the desert.
Yeah, I lived in Arizona for a while there and all that stuff. No, you're good. I did not see the Grand Canyon. Yeah, I think that's one of the 7 wonders of the world, natural wonders, because there's like 7 man-made wonders as well. Yeah. But yeah, I lived out in Arizona. I actually have a trip going to see my brother in San Diego soon. It's the first time. It's the first time I'll be in California, but I have been on the West Coast before. I went to Oregon before. Beautiful country and all that stuff. I pretty much traveled all up and down the East Coast. Sister lives in Georgia. I'll be going to there again this year. I just came back from Portland, Maine. That was a beautiful trip. I'm still working on that, guys, of all my pictures and videos and all that stuff. And I'm going to put it all together in like a collage and kind of like do some type of little video and all that stuff to put it out there. I'm procrastinating on that. So
very cool. Very cool.
So while I have you guys here for health and fitness and all that stuff. And I go to Anytime Fitness where these two people work. And Anytime Fitness is really good because it's open 24/7. So for people that have busy schedules and all that stuff, it's really convenient. So anytime you want to go, hence the name, you can go and you can get a workout in. For people that work odd hours like myself or get up really early before the gym opens and everything. But a lot of times people have questions or they have complaints of like, I don't have time. That's one of the biggest things. And the other thing is a lot of people are very self-conscious of going to a gym, like a big gym or, muscle heads and all that stuff, or bodybuilders will call it and everything. So for me personally, I like Anytime Fitness because it's kind of like a small to medium-sized gym. It feels like when there's 7 people in there, it's crowded though. I have a little problem with that. But for me, I was going to the gym for the longest time. I wasn't really getting much results. So I reached out to Mike and I said, "Hey, Mike, I need a trainer pretty much." And he said, "All right, come check out Connor." And so we did what was like a free assessment. Mm-hmm. We did a free assessment, did a workout and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, this has got some potential and all that stuff because I've trained with a personal trainer back in the day, and I saw great results and all that stuff. So I feel better under like the supervision of a coach or a trainer and everything. And the main thing is, I'm getting the heavy lifts. You're helping me get these heavy lifts and stuff that I can't really do myself, and I don't have a workout partner and everything. Right. And that's one of the main things. And Connor's also coming up with new exercise plans and all that stuff every time I come and see him. He's always changing it up, mixing it up, so I'm not bored doing the same things over and over again. So what I want to ask you guys, what is the hardest thing that you see in a new client or someone that is starting to train with you? What is the hardest thing for you to relate to them or kind of explain to them of like sticking with it, or what are some of the downfalls of a new person? So,
and this kind of falls back on just the education of it. There's very little education in modern schooling. So a lot of the times people come in and when they start, they have misconceptions and they believe certain things like all carbs are terrible. You should cut, they read things online that aren't necessarily true, that are pushing some type of agenda. And then it sits in their brain and they think about it and they think that that's what it is. And unfortunately, there's a lot more that goes into it. And I think that really it's just, most people go through like a year of health class, I think, in high school.
Yeah.
And like the years before that, you go through it too. But before that, you're not really smart enough or understand enough to retain a lot of that information.
Absolutely. So to piggyback on top of that, basically workouts and what works for me might not work for you. Everyone is different, as well as diets. Diets has been a big struggle for me. I've always been changing it, adjusting it as I've gotten older. I'm really watching what I have to eat, as I get older now and all that stuff. The pounds are just hard to shed. Strength, getting stronger, losing muscle mass, all that stuff. That's been a real big issue. But like you said, some of the information that's out there, like as of right now, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan podcast. He had posted something or said something like Lucky Charms is more healthier than steak. But I mean, I guess for everyone, something is different.
Yeah.
So
I saw that post as well.
But as you were saying, with diets and stuff, the carbohydrates might work better for somebody, depending on what carbohydrates you have too. That's the other thing too. So not every calorie is going to burn the same way, or it's going to affect you the same way. Right. As I was saying, rice carbohydrates compared to like white bread, that's completely different, or quinoa, or the carbohydrates from the vegetables and all that stuff that you eat. So one of the questions I have, what do you guys normally do to like motivate people? Jesse, do you
Well, I was okay.
for a trainer and stuff?
So most of the time it's to just keep pushing them. I guess when I start to get tired and I'm like, no, you can keep going.
Yeah.
And encouraging them to try different things that they probably wouldn't have tried on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the big things. And when we did the turkey burn at Anytime Fitness, which was pretty cool, it was the first turkey burn that I did. Connor and a bunch of coaches had made up a bunch of different exercises, and we all went around them. And then you saw me and my partner, I believe it was Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, Ryan. We were making the one exercise easy, and you're like, here you go. And you just like threw a bar at us with like this 50 pounds while we're sitting. We're doing like wall sits. We have this huge ass bar. You're like, here you go, do this. And I was like, oh man, this
the
sucks.
one you had was a little too light, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but that's good though. When a trainer sees that, like, oh, you could do more. As much as I don't want to do more, the trainer's there to help push and all that stuff. So
I think that's part of the special thing about the coaching staff we have at Anytime right now is we've all kind of been through it. Jesse trained with Mike for years, and Enrique's been with trainers before. Mm-hmm. Peggy was with Mike before she was brought on board. I trained with a sports coach from 8th grade till I was a senior in college. So, we've all been pushed in those ways, and every time, like, I just draw back on those memories. Like, every time I thought I didn't have any more, I could always get pushed farther.
Yes.
I always could go farther than what I thought I could do.
Yeah.
So I apply that to every client I have is, your limits are set by yourself. Mm-hmm. So, whatever you think your limit is, my goal is always to try to push you a little bit further past that. And then the next time, push you a little further than that. And then a little further than that. Yeah. And you're a testament to that. I do that to you every time you walk in the door.
Definitely do that, man.
So it's about raising those limits. It's about, not obviously if there are limits here, I'm not going to push them way past it in one of our first sessions because I don't want them. But I want them to get a taste of, all right, I got further than I thought I would get.
And the progress, the progress is the biggest thing because especially with you when we were doing those trap bar deadlifts, I've done them a few times before, but not under the guidance of someone actually watching my form, my posture, motivating me. That's another big thing. And you helped me out. What was it? 355 you said?
I think you finished 365 for 2.
365?
Or maybe it was 355.
355 for 2?
Yeah, for 2.
Yeah, man. Like, when I worked out before on my own, I never really pushed myself to those limits by having a coach and all that stuff and helping, motivate me and push me to those limits. But not only that, the progression, though. Like, I didn't start with 355. I started low and just kept slowly building on and building on, building on. And I've been training with you since, I think, like July.
I think July. We're about 6 months through. Yeah.
And Ronnie, my co-host, which he's unfortunately not here today, he actually challenged me to an abs challenge in June. So I think like June 20th, we got to have like abs or something like that. So you're my secret weapon pretty much.
All right.
Yeah, man. I'm trying.
That.
I'm trying to get there. So a little bit a question for yourself. What got you into fitness?
So it's actually funny. So when I was young, when I was in middle school, every Tuesday and Thursday, my dad took me to the gym.
Yeah.
And I hated it. Okay. I hated it. All my friends would be out, playing stuff outside.
Yeah.
Playing sports, playing video games, whatever they were doing. I felt like I was missing out, that FOMO.
Yeah.
And then I got to high school, and that was for 3 years. I hated it. I got to high school. I went in for freshman orientation at Oakcrest when I was going there. And we went in for our first lifting session, and I was like head over heels stronger than every single person in my grade. Like, it wasn't even close. So when that happened, I was like, oh, all right, I kind of like this. I like being like the strongest guy out of all people. So I started to get real into it in high school. I was working out. We had off-season lifts for football, obviously, and then I was going to a trainer 3 times a week on top of that. And that was for 4 years, and I just kind of fell in love with it. But it was more, like I said, it was just for football. I lifted for football. Mm-hmm. Then I got to college, and I actually went in as a biochemical engineer major, which sucked.
Wow. Biochemical engineer major?
Biochem engineer. I was supposed to do 3 years at Ursinus, and then I was supposed to go over to Columbia and do 2 years there. It was a 3-2 split. I got about a semester and a half through that course load. It was like Calc 2, physics, all this stuff. And I was like, I just can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. Yeah. I was up one night for like 6 hours doing like 5 math problems. And every problem took like an hour and something to do. It was like 20 different parts. And I was like, I just can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. I had no passion for it. I was chasing the money that comes with it. And, that's great. But there was zero passion. And I was like, if I'm 20 years old and I'm already burning out doing this stuff, this isn't going to last me my whole life. So I was like, what am I passionate about? And my roommate at the time was a health and exercise physiology major. Now he was going more the PT track, the physical therapy track. So I looked into it and I was like, do they have strength and conditioning? And we had a strength and conditioning focused track. So I sat down and talked to it, and I got into those classes, and it was an immediate, like, I just clicked with the information better, clicked with all the textbooks and stuff. I more enjoyed reading rather than sitting and doing math problems for hours on end every night. Yeah. So that's kind of where that started. And then, I just developed a passion for it. I got the job. I graduated in 2018 in May, and I started working for Anytime in October. And I didn't get my first client for like a couple months after that. And then once I did, and I started seeing results with them, it just like snowballed. And I was like,
makes you feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely. That's good. Jesse, I want to kind of like ask you, where's your beginnings in fitness and all that stuff? And
in fitness?
High school, normally that's where it starts. High school, wrestling, track and field for myself. Was always into all that stuff. So
no, I'm like the complete opposite. I was horrible at sports. I didn't play any sports in high school or anything. I tried baseball once, and I was just out in the outfield picking dandelions. So it's kind of like weird. So I didn't really get into fitness probably until, I think like in college I would do yoga and stuff like that.
Okay, yoga, that's something.
In the Lower East Side, we would go to do yoga, and I would do stuff like at home. But like I didn't really get into fitness probably until after I had my kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, so Jessie here, she has 2 young kids. Well, they're not super young, but yes. So she is a mom that's fitness, and she's getting after it, man. She's doing it. So all you moms, unfortunately, not every mom, it's every situation is different, but it can be done if you want that and achieve that goals and all that stuff. Yes, you really have to put yourself to it. So sorry to cut you off, but keep going. So now after your kids.
So I don't know. I just, I tried dieting and all that stuff, and it really wasn't for me because I love to eat. So I would try to do, I wanted to lose weight. Every mom wants to lose the baby weight.
Absolutely.
I did those silly like detox tea diets. I did one where it was like I would only eat like 400 calories a day with like these vitamin drops. Crazy. And it was so gross. I was like in a constant state of hunger.
Yes.
I said, like if you know me, I love to eat. So
yes,
that was hard. But anyway, and then eventually I was just like, I just didn't want to. I was like, I can do this. And then a friend of mine, I believe she was going through recovery at the time. So she was like hitting the gym pretty hard, and I would like see her pictures and be like, oh my God, like I can't believe she's posting all these gym pics. And now it's, now it's like me. But I think that's another thing we should go over is like exercise and mental health.
Yeah. But anyway, big time.
So I was like, oh, okay. So then I was like, let me try this. So I did like workouts at home. Actually I did Insanity,
Oh yeah, back in the day. Yeah, Shaun T, man. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had like this exercise.
I remember watching them videos.
Yeah. Like these DVDs. So I did
Shaun
that.
T.
And the first week, so like the first day I threw up. The second day, I couldn't even get through like I don't even think it was like it was like 45 minutes, probably 30 minutes. I couldn't even get through it. The third day, I was so sore. I was like, forget it. I'm not doing this. A couple months went by, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it again. So I did it. I did like the whole 90 days. I was shredded. And then, I got like bored and I was like, all right, well, but I felt like too skinny because like the P90X or Insanity, whatever it is, it's all cardio.
Yes.
So absolutely. Like there's no weightlifting. It's all body weight stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I just felt like too skinny. I was like, I need something more. And it's funny because I was terrified of the gym. You had mentioned it earlier about people being like,
terrified of the
to
gym.
Go into a gym.
Yeah.
Like I was terrified. I was like, I am not joining a gym. I am not.
Yeah, absolutely. I got you.
I just got my like 5-pound dumbbells and then I would like do more stuff at home. And then my husband, he was like, my house is like 100 years old and I'd be like doing tuck jumps in the living room. He's like, honey, you're going to come through the floor. He's like, no offense, but.
Oh, that's so funny.
He's like, you're a big girl. You're going to come through the floor. I was like, okay. And I think around that time is when the Anytime Fitness opened in Mays Landing. And I drove by that like all the time. And I'm like, I'm not going in there. I'm not going in there.
Yeah, I'm not going there. Yeah.
And then eventually I did. So I joined the gym. And again, I was terrified. Like I would only go at like 10 o'clock at night when nobody was there. And then, I did pretty good for a while. Like I did, I tried a lot of the things. I remember the first time I loaded the hack squat machine. I wasn't actually loading it. I was unloading it. And I'm like, why isn't this working for me? But anyway, so eventually I get used to, I got myself in a routine. I fell off for a little bit.
Yeah, we all do.
And then I was like, I needed something like more. And that's when they started doing classes in Festival. When they had the gym Anytime in Festival.
Camp, right?
Yeah, they did the boot camps. Yeah, it was like 5 a.m. And I think that's what it was. I think like going so late at night, like I would go like after work, I'd make sure the kids were like asleep. And that's another thing, like people talk about not having time, but if you you really want to make the time, you can make the time.
Absolutely.
So like I would wait for the kids to go to sleep and then I would go to the gym and then it would be like, I'd be like up because, if you work out, I know your schedule's kind of crazy, but I know for some people,
get your heart rating, all that stuff. And
yeah, like right
energy's
before
flowing
bed.
And all that stuff.
I'd be like cooking dinner at 11 o'clock for like the next week or something. But anyway, so going at 5 a.m. was easier for me. So it kind of, once I got that routine down, it kind of like almost became like an addiction. And then you start to see like more results and you're like, oh, all right. So then that was good. And then COVID and
all that stuff. Yeah. COVID hit and all that stuff. Yeah. But
fun little fact, I had worked at the gym for about 2 years before I ever even had heard a sentence from her.
Yeah, I don't really talk.
She didn't talk, and I was afraid to approach her because she never made eye contact with anybody.
Like myself too. It's like when I go to the gym, like I put this mode on, and like I just want to go there. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to get my workout done, and just get out the door. And there's some people that are like, I don't even bring my cell phone in there. I bring a little notebook and pad, and I write down my workouts, and I keep track of all that stuff and the weights that I'm using and the reps that I'm doing and all that stuff. And I kind of like I use that as a visual for myself, which helps out for me, so I could look back at the previous exercise from a previous time and see how I've progressed, and go from there.
Yep.
So a lot of that progression stuff, for me, this works out for me by having that visual of seeing it, writing it down, and all that stuff. But as we were talking, you said something about diets. Yeah. So that is one of the, I think, the hardest part of anyone's fitness routine, figuring out, as we were talking earlier, about like what to eat, when to eat it, how much you should eat it, and all that stuff. Is that something that's really hard to get people, like as a new client, to really get on track? Because everyone,
I think it is
because like you said, the fad diets with like keto diet and like some of that stuff does work, and it might work for you at the beginning, but then you always have to change it and adjust it because if you're trying to lose weight, for myself as an example, I'll start, I have my basic diet as it is, and then I'll just tweak it a little bit more to change it up to actually see more results and everything. So, but is it like hard to get people to like stop eating the pizza and all that stuff?
Well, so yeah, it is tough. And I think the other thing that's tough as a trainer is, obviously we want to take all of our clients at their words.
Yeah.
But when you're training someone for a long period of time and they're losing weight steadily, and then at some point it just kind of stops.
Yeah.
You kind of know as a trainer that something's going wrong in that aspect, but they don't always offer that information. You know, sometimes it's easier to, just say you're eating healthy than actually eating healthy. You know what I mean? So that's one of the hardest parts, is because we have them for the half hour, the hour, however long they're training, multiple times a week, but we don't get to monitor or see anything else that happens once they step out that door. It's tough too. I mean, there's certain circumstances where we can, and anytime's actually working on a new app that's going to be crucial in that, because it's going to help us track a little bit better out the door. But that's always the hardest part, is just, and sometimes they don't even know that they're not eating healthy. That's the craziest part about it.
Yeah.
They think that they are eating healthy. They think that they're doing all the right things, and turns out, they might be eating something that's, falsely advertised or whatever it is. Or they read an article one time on something and now they think that that's a healthy thing.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's not.
absolutely.
So,
yeah.
There's a lot of things that go into it with that, but I think that's one of the hardest parts about being a trainer is, you only get them for that time that they're with you. And then you don't know what they're doing.
What they're doing after that.
After that.
I think that's what's hard too. Is, okay, you get 2 or 3 times a week with a trainer. You got to make sure you're keeping yourself accountable for like the rest of the time. So that's kind of one of the things that was hard for me, because you're working with somebody and then you got to just kind of trust that they're going to keep going, like when you're not there. Like, okay, you want to go 3 to 4 times a week. You got to make sure you show up 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
So, you're only with me like 2 days. I want to make sure you get your workout in. And then they say, oh yeah, well, I did this and this at home. And I'm like, okay. And then if they don't eat right because that's another thing. So say if they've been with you for a while, and like he said, they might have lost weight like in the beginning. And then you're like, okay, well, now you're not losing any more weight. So I think there's something else we need to adjust. So either we like hype up our workouts a little bit, or, something at home needs to change.
Yes. And that's the other thing. As you were talking about too, you were talking about the mental health aspect of it as well. And that's a big part of it. I'd have to say, my job is very stress induced. And stress affects your sleep. Sleep affects your hormones. Your hormones affect how you feel, and energy and motivation and all that stuff as well. So that's a big part of it. So the mental health part of it, for myself, I've been trying to go pretty much to the gym every day. And through discipline and all that stuff, I've actually seen it actually wear on my mental health. Like if I don't go to the gym, like I feel like I'm missing part of it. It's like I forget to brush my teeth as I'm walking out the door, go to work or something like that. So I'm implementing it part of my routine in my everyday life. Unfortunately, after Connor, some of the days I get home, I can't even walk because of the squats and all that stuff.
I got to tell you, Monday mornings, me and Mike's favorite thing is watching you walk to your truck. I have 4 videos of you waddling out to your truck.
Out of there.
I'm gonna release a montage soon of you just slowly hobbling your way to your truck.
I'm still waiting for that complimentary wheelchair to my truck.
Yep.
You should get a wheelchair.
Yeah, thanks.
Make it all purple.
I'm not that purple.
Throw people out after leg days.
Like our leg day wheelchair.
And I think the one time actually, I have a Toyota Tacoma. It's not that big. It's not that lifted or anything. Like I tripped trying to get into it. Like my leg stopped working. My leg stopped working. I tried to lift it up to step inside my truck, and I kind of tripped into it. But, I caught myself. But little funny thing.
Well,
but,
we didn't get that on video. So you're
oh man, I know. And the one time I got done with the workout, like I opened up my door and I just laid right down.
You told me that.
I laid down for like 15 minutes. I was like, oh my God, I got to go to work. And today's Monday. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to make this.
But that's the best way to start your week. That's why we moved our staff workouts to Mondays.
Well, Monday is actually my Wednesday.
True. That's
for
true.
my work schedule. But but that's definitely like a midweek, and then we do the upper body on Wednesday and all that stuff. And since then, but like I've conditioned my body. That's the main thing. Is it took a while. Like I was only going like 2 days a week, and I was like, I'm like, well, this ain't doing much. Working out with Connor 2 days a week, I'm not gaining anything. So, but it took me a while, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people do get frustrated when they are working out that hard. Like you need to rest, and you need to get like the proper rests, like for mentally and physically, sleeping and all that stuff. And a big thing is a lot of people are drinking alcohol, and that fucks up your sleep big time. That's something I had to cut out. Like I learned myself, like if I have a beer, my sleep is going to be shitty, any type of alcohol. So that's why I kind of like cut it out of my life. As well as like, cell phones and phone time and all that screen time and all that stuff. Like that kind of like those images and all that stuff, like affects your brain and your mind and all that. And that kind of like, that messes up your sleep. That's another thing as well. So having a good routine, sleep routine, as well as, morning routine, and like kind of like conditioning yourself and doing all that stuff. Like that's one of the key things is like consistency. Mike always talks about consistency, and yeah, absolutely. And that's the main thing. Consistently pushing yourself a little bit every day. And that kind of like you keep amounting. It's like we'll say climbing a mountain, like one step at a time. And then by the time you notice, you're at the top of the mountain. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. It's all about holding yourself to a standard and trying not to like sway from that.
Yes.
Try to hold that standard every day. Don't give yourself excuses and stuff.
Yes.
To let you
there
out
are times that where you are going to miss a workout and everything, to where, if something, your car breaks down or, you get sick, it does happen. Life does happen, but it's good for you to keep getting back on track. And what would you suggest, like a simple thing for people to get started? Someone that's not, or that's kind of afraid to start at the gym, or someone that's not really in the best shape of their life. Would you suggest like starting small with, like we were talking before, like taking a walk around the block, walk around your neighborhood? That's free. It doesn't take much time, 5 minutes. Another thing would be, do push-ups. Well, I can't do push-ups. Well, do them on your knees. If you can't do them on your knees, then get up into the push-up position. Like hold yourself there for 5 seconds, and then take a break and then do it again. Like, or, walking up the steps. If you're winded walking up the steps, do that like 10 times or something, and just start moving your body. Start getting that blood flow, and I believe you'll start to feel better if you start taking care of yourself. And you could start now, and I would like you to start now, and everyone else like that. That's why I'm doing this podcast, is to like push that out there through mental health. I have my mental health talks with my friend Gina, and the physical stuff, and then I also have the lighthearted stuff where people just laugh at us doing some silly, stupid stuff. But is there anything you guys can suggest for like the mental aspect of it or something as you were talking?
Well, because I think exercise and, it's like the ultimate form of self-care. And
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that like when I fell off, it was because I was always taking care of other people, and it was kind of like I felt selfish, and I didn't know how to justify, taking care of myself. Mm-hmm. So then I would just kind of dropped off, and then I was like, you know what? No, this is what I need. Like I need for me to feel better and for me to be able to take care of the other people in my life. Like I needed to take care of myself. And I think that that's what kept me going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I don't know. I had it in my head and I lost my train of thought, but
That's okay. It's okay.
But I think like it's hard for parents to take care of themselves, or if you're taking care of a loved one, I think that that's just a hard thing to come to terms with.
Yeah,
and once you get into that routine, like you were saying, like you have to set the time aside. And I think I have trouble with some of my clients as well, as like them taking the time for themselves. Like, okay, they'll be like, oh, I can't make it in today. I'm doing this for, so I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, it's awesome that you want to do that, but you got to make sure you set time aside for yourself, or we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like the gym is open. Anytime Fitness is open 24 hours. So you can always come to the gym. But again, just like I said, taking a walk around the block.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like just breathing
Start.
some fresh air.
Just start.
Yeah,
That's the biggest takeaway.
Yeah,
Just
once you start, like I'm sore after Connor and all that stuff, but the next day, I as I'm older now, it takes a while for me to start up. I'm like a classic car, I got to start it up, let it run. You see me, man. I get on a treadmill, I walk for about like 3 minutes, work everything out, get the blood flowing, and then, get my mile done. Now I'm all nice and warm. I get my workout in and all that stuff, and I'm good to go. And I feel good. Sometimes, though, it gets me at night as I'm at work, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm just so tired. But that's good because, like, I put all that physical out. Like, when I get home, I know I'm going right to sleep, pretty much. And that's the biggest thing is, like, wearing yourself out just to get that full rest, man. Yep. But,
we were talking about, trying to, the mental health aspect. And I think one of the most overlooked parts of that is I don't think, people are just like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym today. Don't just say it. Find a time. Like, schedule it into your day.
Absolutely.
If you plan it into your day, it's a lot easier to get it done in that time than if you're just like, all right, I work till 5. I'll go to the gym sometime after.
Yeah.
Then you go home, you make dinner, or you walk your dog, or whatever you have to do. And then you're like, do I really want to leave the house? Like, schedule it in your day. If you schedule it into your day, it's a lot easier to follow it than it is if you're just kind of winging it on when you're going to go.
Absolutely. And Mike, when Mike was on the show, make sure you guys check out that show. If you guys don't, I'll make sure I'll link it to at the end of this show. When Mike was on here, he was talking about the book called Eat the Frog. Mm-hmm. And he says, instead of waiting all day thinking about eating this frog, get it out of the way, get it out. There's a lot of people to where I watch, and Mike is one, and I think you guys are too. You get up early, first thing in the day, you get your workouts done. You get your workout done, then you go about your day. And I find that out too myself. Like, it's easy. If you have kids or anything else like that, if you have to take care of somebody, if you wake up early, early could be for you anytime that is earlier than you normally wake up. Mm-hmm. Some guys are waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get that done. You don't have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't do that because I'm almost just going to sleep pretty much. Some days I do work till like 3:30 in the morning. Like I can't do that. But normally I would wake up at 9. Now I've been waking up at 8, 7. I've been trying to wake up. I'm trying to build myself into that routine, and I'm getting good amount of sleep and all that stuff. Like, I feel good. I feel energized and everything. And just work that into your routine, as you were saying. Some people, they wake up, go to work, and then make sure you hit the gym afterwards. But that's something that you need to find and dictate upon yourself when that is, and your energy levels, as well as all that other stuff. So one of the big things I think Mike said with your health, you're either paying now with...
Pay later.
Yeah, you're either paying now or you're paying later. One or the other. So if you want to push yourself, working out in the gym, paying for good quality foods. That's the thing. Like, a lot of these crappy foods are real cheap. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure everyone's expenses and all that stuff, but like as you're saying, you're either going to pay now with your health, or you're going to pay later, having, problems and all that stuff. And I think one of the other things too is, as we were talking about diet, good quality foods. Like, I found out for myself, like, I have a problem with digesting the nutrition in the foods. Well, then I have like gut, problems and all that stuff. So I've researched things and, like, taking probiotics, drinking this aloe vera juice. Man, that stuff is nasty.
You tried the kombucha?
Yeah, I drink kombucha pretty much every day. Like, I get like the bottles, even though it's like got like 12 grams of sugar in there or something like that. But I try to limit myself with sugar as well. But like, I feel a lot better now. I feel like, I guess, the nutrition that I'm actually digesting and all that stuff is actually taking effect and everything. So, but yeah, definitely start now. It's never too late to start and all that stuff. And what was I going to say? There was something else that I was thinking about, but yeah, I'm having a blonde moment too. Like Jesse,
I like had it all in my head, and then
losing
when
my
he
train
asked me,
of
I'm
thought.
like,
What I do want to say is, we might be wrapping this up in a little bit. What I do want to say is that Mike and the Anytime Fitness team, they do have their own YouTube channel. I'm going to link that in the description below there. But before we get wrapped up here, do you guys have anything else to say or anything? Motivation is a good way to start, but the discipline for you to keep going is the way to continue it. Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else before you guys?
Consistency.
Consistency. Yep. Keep working. You might not see progression at some points in time, but just keep going at it and you'll break through that plateau. You might, as Jesse was saying, you might have to change your diet or change your workouts. You might have to up the weight or repetition or just completely change it at all. Having Connor here, Connor changes my workout pretty much all the time. It's good to have a coach. It's good to have a workout partner. If you can have a workout partner, that'd be great. But definitely start somewhere. Start now. It's never too late. Yeah. And your health is your wealth. Your health is gonna, keep you going forever. If you have kids, especially, that's something you definitely want to get into, because then now your kids are gonna be watching. Your kids watch. That's what something Mike says. Your kids watch you, everything that you do. Mm-hmm. So if they consistently see in you working out, taking care of yourself, they're going to want to take care of themselves as well.
I've seen that with my kids.
Now eat the right foods.
Yes.
Now my son trains with Connor.
Oh boy!
And my daughter is a gymnast. And like I said, I do not have an athletic bone in my body, so I don't know how. I mean, she's very talented, but yeah, we'll do like workout reels together, and she'll like see something. She's like, "Oh, Mom, can we try this?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." She's like, "You're gonna make your clients do this?" And I'm like, "No."
Well, you and your daughter were both at the turkey burn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, everyone's accepted.
But yeah, I think that's what you need, though. Sometimes you do need the accountability partner or coach. Mm-hmm. Like absolutely. I think going back to the mental health thing, like if I didn't have a coach at the time, I probably wouldn't have pushed myself to keep going.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me, as I saw, I wasn't losing weight. I wasn't getting stronger. I was kind of like steady in that plateau and that stuff. And then I was like, well, I had a coach before to help me get ready for stuff. I was like, well, let me reach out to Mike. I was like, Mike, I need help, and he gave me you. Man. Oh my gosh. It's a blessing and all that stuff, man.
If 6 months ago, before you started me, you would expect, do you think any of those workouts, some of that stuff we've done, would you have expected any of that?
Would have I expected any of that stuff? No, man. And some of the crazy stuff you have me going. I mean, it's not super crazy to where you're going to see me on YouTube,
you might
busting my ass.
We're getting to that point. We're getting there.
We're getting some crazy stuff, man. There's getting some crazy stuff, which is good though. Like I don't have to think about that. I know on the days I go with you, I'm like, all right, we're either going to be doing upper body or lower body, whatever's going to go. We're going to get it done, man. It's going to be a good workout either way.
It's always a surprise too. I never send him anything beforehand. He doesn't know what he's doing when he comes in. So
yeah, it's good stuff, man.
But one of the other things I just wanted to touch real quick was, for staying motivated and stuff, is set goals.
Set goals, yes.
Small, attainable goals. Don't set, I want to lose 100 pounds. It doesn't happen that way. You have to set small, attainable goals. Yeah. And once you start to accomplish some of those, you'll start to get some more motivation to want to accomplish bigger ones and bigger ones and bigger ones. So set small goals. Don't just go in with no plan. If you want to lose, say you do want to lose 100 pounds. All right. So say in the next 3 months, I want to lose 5 pounds.
Yeah. Yes. And that's the thing. Like a lot of people tend to lose that motivation where like, I want to lose a pound a day. I want to lose 100 pounds in 100 days or something like that. It doesn't work that way.
Yep. And don't just think about it. Write it down. There's power in writing things out and seeing it and speaking it to yourself.
Yes.
There's power in all that. Keep a journal.
Yeah. Keep a journal. Absolutely.
I keep my journal at home. I don't bring it anywhere because if anyone found it, they'd probably turn me in the. They'd be like, "This guy is insane. Take him to the asylum." Because I just write ideas down. But
yeah, some of the ideas, the workouts. Yeah, you are insane with the workouts.
Dude, in the middle of the night, I'll wake up from a nightmare and be like, "I'm doing that with Carl."
All right, yeah, man. Oh man, jeez. So. But definitely. You guys are both on social media. Not sure if you guys would be willing to, for people to follow you for motivation and all that stuff, but that's up to you guys. But I'm gonna link their stuff inside on my video for this video here. So if you do want to reach out to them that are motivated or that have questions, that's one of the biggest things is having questions or finding motivation. And with both you guys here, we have both aspects here. especially mom with kids and all that stuff, and a family taking care of all that stuff. Like that's I'm so appreciative of you coming on the show, because that right there, being a woman, family, kids, and all that stuff, physical fitness. A lot of people need to see that visuals and all that stuff. Like, hey, she could do it. I could do it too. And you can do it. You can do it. That's the biggest thing, is that mindset is key. That mental health thing is, you can do it if you put yourself through it, motivation and all that stuff. The biggest thing is self-talk. Self-talk. You can do it, and you are going to do it. That's the biggest thing here. So I'm gonna attach all that stuff to the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to somebody. If you need, if you need to send this to somebody that is trying to, or thinking about, or you would like them to take care of themselves a little bit more physically and all that stuff, which is pretty much everyone out there, send it to them. Send them a good word, a good message, and all that stuff. And I think that's the main thing, is you don't have to do it alone. We're here for you. Friends and family are here for you. We're motivating for you. We want to help you keep consistency and accountable and all that stuff through your goals. And that's going to help us keep us accountable as well, as we were saying. So if you do like this, like, share, and subscribe with your friends. And I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you very much.